So in this video, we're going to check out episode 5 of the Bootcamp series for the Korg SQ64. Make sure to watch the previous episodes since we're building up from the first. So if you get lost, just start from the first episode. It's recommended that if you want to understand all these features, to watch these videos at least once a day until these things become second nature. Even if you take out 5 minutes a day, you should be seeing big results in no time. The Korg SQ64 is a standalone MIDI CV sequencer. It does not generate sound. This time I'll be connecting the control voltage out from my SQ64 and going out through to my Behringer Model D. Then that audio is sent to my Roland MX1 mixer through some effects off camera. I want to mention I'm not fully familiar with modular gear, and I personally own only semi-modular devices. So we're keeping this as basic as possible. So CV, if you don't know, stands for control voltage. It's electrical signal that's sent to control parameters on synths, groove boxes, drum machines, modular systems, and more. First, let's check global settings to check the CV settings for the specific situation. And we have to choose which track we want to modify. So let's press A, and now we're setting up track A. And if you press here, first we can see the gate. The first parameter we have is gate, and the polarity is set to V-trig or voltage trigger. The second parameter here we see is the voltage. It might be good to look up the manual for your gear you want to use CV with. In this case, the Model D manual shows the CV trigger response is +5 voltage, so I have this set to 5 voltage. So next, if I press this, we're going to see pitch CV. The first thing we want to do is set the first parameter to 1 voltage per octave, because right here you can see that's what it says right here for the oscillator, 1 voltage per octave. The next parameter, we want it to be 0 volts. And then next we want it set to C3. Now the next pad here, now we're looking at the mod CV. You can see it set to +5 volts. And then the next one here, 0 volts. And we can set up each track as well. But if we're in the D track, we can see subtracks 1 through 16. Now we can use subtracks 1 through 8 to trigger through the gates 1 through 8 here. So I'm just going to trigger some of these subtracks so we can visually see what it does. So I'm going to press gate. We're going to choose subtrack D1, which is right here. Now we're just going to press in some gates. Now if I press play, we can see it blinking every time it hits the gate. Now let's go to D8, add some of these. Let's go to D4, add some here. Now if I press play, so we can see how this is sending out 1 through 8 triggers. So I'm going to hold shift clear, and now it's gone. You can use what I'll be showing as a sort of reference if you don't have a Model D. But this is going to be very specific as to the different things that you can do with it. First, I want the pitch CV on track A to be sent to the pitch on the oscillator of Model D over here. So there's track A and pitch, and I'm plugging it in. Now over here, I'm plugging this into oscillator in 1 voltage per octave. That's right on the top of the oscillator section. I'm going to hold down pitch, press track A. Now if I press the keyboard, we're not hearing anything. That's because you have to imagine the pitch as just sending a note value. It'd be like choosing a key on a keyboard but not pressing the key down. And when we press the key, we can see it lights up the gate here. So you can imagine the gate as the trigger of the note that we send the pitch value. On the Model D, we want to trigger what's called the loudness contour gate. What this means is it's almost like pressing a key and then it's running through an envelope, attack, decay, and sustain. So let's plug in track A gate. And we're going to plug that into LC gate, which is loudness contour gate. So now if I press a key, can hear it. Now the loudness contour down here can make it decay longer. So now we can play notes in, so big deal, right? Well, it's about the same as plugging in MIDI and playing notes that way, but there's much more we can do. So if you use MIDI and you want to control changes on the Model D, you can't actually do that, but we can use CV to do that. So we're going to use the mod lane on track A, so we're just going to plug it in right here. We're going to plug into cut CV on the Model D. Now I can go into the mod lane here, and we can change values per step if I want. Let's make the tempo slower. So I can do the cutoff here, but now if I go to mod, I can turn it to offset. So now, it's like almost using a macro on top of the knob that we have here. So I'll turn up resonance, you can hear it better. So I can do that, or we can sequence steps. So I'm changing the values on some of these notes. I can turn it down, and it still does the changes depending on where the knob is. Well, that can be fun, but we can go further. I want to trigger the filter contour separately from the notes from track A. So what does this mean? Well, we have a filter envelope on here that we can turn up or down. Normally it would trigger when you press the note. So let's make it trigger from track B. So we're going to plug in track B gate. Now we're going to plug it into the FC gate, which is the filter contour. So if I exit out of here, let's just go to gate. Now let's turn down the cutoff here. And I'm just going to enter in a couple of steps, and you'll hear it when we press play. So you can hear it changing the filter amount. So if I turn it down more and turn the contour even down more, so it's more minimal. I can turn it up. Let's turn the attack down on it. And turn down the resonance. And go up in pitch. And the oscillator. Let's change it to a saw wave. So let's change the pattern here and just see what it sounds like. Turn down the contour. So you can hear the difference. Let's get rid of all these. I can also make it probability. So sometimes it'll work, sometimes it'll be low percentage. So that's good, but now what I want to do is separate the gate from the pitch. So let's unplug the gate from track A and go in to the gate of track C. So now what's going to happen, I'm going to press play and we're not going to hear anything, because if I enter in a gate, we're going to hear the note trigger. So now that's independent. We can just modify that, everything on the same screen here. So we'll turn off the filter trigger up here, and we'll make the notes here. We'll turn those off. Let's clear that pattern, and we're just going to play something in. So now we're getting a lot different results here. Now what we can do is say fill in all these, and then we can change the probability. We can change the probability on the pitch and on everything else. So we're getting already pretty quick different results. We can bring the steps down a little bit. And then we're going to enable polyrhythm. Turn it down a little. just get rid of that cutoff. I want to manually do the cutoff. So I just got rid of that one. Now I'm manually going to turn up the cutoff. So I just made a quick pattern here. We can implement changes like in the previous episodes. So we can hold Shift. Let's change track A to stochastic. So now it's playing different notes, so it's always a little different. We're going to change this to bounce. Bounce. Now we can see these two are bouncing back and forth. Now let's actually cut out some of these notes. So this is triggering the gate. This is the filter. Now let's turn up resonance. Let's turn down the cutoff. We're going to turn up filter contour. Maybe turn up the attack on it. So it's only triggering that when it hits those. I can also maybe hold this down and change the step division so it's playing it twice when it hits there. You can hear it better if I turn the attack. Let's make it even more. The same applies to the filter contour. So I can just clear it out, start a new one, but change it back to off. Bring up the octave. That's repeating, turning that off. There we go. So now we're getting into somewhat generative territory. Maybe make this faster, slower, change the probability of a note playing. Can turn up the attack here. Turn up decay, maybe turning down the attack on the filter envelope. Can change the oscillator sound and turn up some reverb. Another octave. Oscillator. Maybe bring it down an octave. So I can just turn off changing those notes. It's going to be even more minimal. Or I could record notes in. Let's clear track A. Now it's just staying at the same note. Just record some notes in. We're going to exit. Let's get rid of all these gates. So now it's just going to play here and there. Turn up resonance. Let's make that go slower. So now it's going to be more time between the filter triggering. So we have fast notes. Let's make it even faster. Let's make it stochastic. So now it's going to vary more. Maybe play it a couple more in the gate here. So now we can hear more notes. Make this one faster. You can see now. Modify the knobs here. Turn down resonance. Change the oscillator. Make them at random.